Phil Mickelson's defense today sounds louder than the allegation itself. Phil Mickelson, his lawyers attack the report. Ashley Perez still keeps it moving through Instagram. Pat Perez, a warning from 2022 returns. Amy appears only through a spokesperson. That absence changes the marriage angle. The PGA Tour is pulled into chaos, even though Phil now plays for LIV because his identity still belongs to golf's stages. But the question is whether Phil Mickelson's wife has made any move for separation. Amy has never said she can't take another accuser. A fresh allegation exists. Phil disputes the wider account. His camp describes Amy's support as unwavering love, while his absence from every 2026 major began under a family health explanation. Ashley became the challenger to a protected superstar for many fans. Phil's supporters instead saw separate disputes being forced into one damaging narrative. Public pressure around the marriage is real, even before that question is answered. Your view may shift once Pat's unforgivable warning is placed beside Ashley's account. I genuinely want to know whether you see loyalty or denial here. Subscribe, then leave your first reaction. Now let us examine what actually happened. The answer begins with how Mickelson's side chose to fight. His representatives did not offer a quiet sentence. They attacked the reporting as an anonymously sourced drive-by shooting built around a clickbait narrative. That language changed the contest immediately. Instead of asking what several women alleged, the audience was invited to question who assembled the story, why it appeared now, and whether old disputes had been arranged to look like a proven pattern. That response carried the instinct golf fans have watched for decades. Mickelson rarely accepted the safest route when trouble appeared. He searched for an opening, took the difficult line, and trusted his hands to rescue the result. The approach produced 6 major championships, 45 PGA Tour victories, and the oldest men's major title. It also created a public identity based on risk. Lefty became compelling because failure never stopped his next escape attempt. His current problem offers no clean recovery shot. A legal statement can challenge sources and wording, but it cannot return the story to the moment before Ashley Perez attached her name to it. Her account gave the controversy a recognizable person, a professional golf connection, and an alleged incident from the 2015 Barclays tournament. Perez told Scratch that Mickelson showed her an explicit photograph and propositioned her while she and Pat Perez were staying near him during tournament week. Mickelson's representatives disputed the publication's description of their interaction. That distinction matters. Ashley has made an allegation rather than established a court finding. Phil disputes it, although denial alone cannot prove nothing occurred. The public was left with opposing versions and one detail that made the story harder to dismiss as random internet gossip. Pat Perez had spoken about an unexplained break with Mickelson years earlier. In 2022, Pat said Phil had crossed a line that was uncrossable and unforgivable. He did not publicly explain the full reason. At the time, the statement sounded like another piece of bitterness inside the LIV golf split, where friendships, money, loyalty, and old tour politics had become difficult to separate. Once Ashley's account appeared, that old sentence returned with a possible meaning attached to it. The quote became more powerful because it existed before the new investigation. Social media did not need to invent fresh dialogue. Users could pull an older clip, place it beside Ashley's allegation, and let the timing produce suspicion. Pat's words did not independently prove her version, but they changed how many fans heard it. A vague grudge now appeared connected to a private accusation involving his former wife. Then Ashley posted publicly. That Instagram message changed her role in the story. She was no longer only a person quoted inside a long article. She presented herself as standing with women who had been silenced and thanked people for supporting her. The post widened the argument beyond one alleged interaction. It turned the dispute into a test of whether a famous athlete's status had discouraged people from speaking earlier. That was the momentum swing. Phil had the larger career, trophies, name recognition, and resources for an aggressive response. The moment itself belonged to Ashley because it forced everyone else to answer publicly. Her post gave supporters a clear hero, the woman willing to confront a protected celebrity. Mickelson's camp offered its own villain, media figures combining disputed claims, private family matters, and acknowledged mistakes into a damaging package designed for attention. The PGA Tour connection added another layer. Mickelson left the tour for Eleva Golf in 2022, yet the empire around his name was built through tour victories, major Sundays, sponsor exposure, and decades of television coverage. His representatives noted that Scratch has a corporate relationship with the PGA Tour and argued that readers could consider that link when judging an investigation into one of Levy's most important defectors. Scratch said Mickelson had been offered a chance to respond before publication and stood by its work. Nothing in that exchange proved a tour conspiracy. It did explain why the phrase PGA Tour chaos kept attaching itself to a golfer who no longer competes there. Phil remains part of the institution's history. His departure helped define golf's civil war. Any serious attack on his reputation quickly becomes another argument about LIV, tour loyalty, media interests, and whether old enemies are still settling accounts. His celebrity status increases that pressure. Mickelson is not merely a retired name whose private conduct has become a late footnote. He remains captain of High Flyers GC, carries a World Golf Hall of Fame resume, and has represented the commercial appeal that LIV purchased when it recruited established stars. Apparel partnerships, team branding, and league promotion rely on the idea that his personality still attracts attention. Controversy, therefore, reaches beyond one man. It touches every organization that continues using his image. No sponsor has publicly announced a break over these allegations. That absence should not be converted into a secret crisis. The accurate point is that brands now watch the unresolved fight like everyone else. A champion's value comes from recognition, but recognition also ensures that each accusation travels faster. Amy entered that conflict without giving a public interview. Mickelson's spokeswoman said his wife had supported him with extraordinary grace and unwavering love through their relationship. The statement also said some circulating allegations were false, while others revisited mistakes he had acknowledged publicly or privately. It presented Phil as a man working to become the husband and father his family deserves. Those words pushed against the separation claim immediately. A spouse preparing a verified filing might still offer private support, but no public document or direct announcement currently establishes that Amy filed for separation. She has not said she cannot take another accuser. The sentence belongs to the rage around the story, not to Amy Mickelson. That correction does not remove the marital pressure. It changes the question. Instead of pretending Amy has already walked away, the evidence asks why her loyalty became central to Phil's defense. His camp could have limited its response to denials, club memberships, and media criticism. It chose to describe Amy's commitment, her grace, and her belief in making failures right. Her marriage was therefore introduced as part of the character argument. There are several fair ways to read that choice. Protecting the private health matter could explain the family's silence as public interest becomes intrusive. Amy's support does not require approval of every past act. Her continued presence could also soften the picture of a man accused of mistreating women. The statement alone cannot confirm which explanation is closest to reality for anyone outside the marriage. The separation rumor grew inside that uncertainty. Fans saw Amy discussed through a spokesperson, then placed allegations, club disputes, and his major absence around her marriage. The pieces looked connected even when the timeline resisted. That order encouraged viewers to treat coincidence as confirmation. Mickelson stepped away from live events in February because he and Amy needed to address an undisclosed family health matter. He returned in South Africa, then withdrew from the Masters and PGA Championship as it continued. His absence began before the misconduct reports, so those allegations cannot explain his original departure. By late June, the timing created a different picture. The Open moved him to its non-playing exempt list, confirming he would miss all 4 men's majors in 1 year for the first time in 36 years. The golfer, who once controlled hard weeks through shot making, no longer had a scorecard to redirect attention. That absence carried symbolic weight. Major championships had protected Mickelson's mythology before. His 2021 PGA Championship victory at 50 revived his image through one extraordinary week. Age, poor form, and doubt disappeared beneath another trophy. Golf supplied a familiar answer. Phil could still create history. No such answer arrived in 2026. Augusta continued without its 3-time champion. The PGA Championship lost its oldest winner, while the U.S. Open and Royal Birkdale offered no rescue stage. Those absences proved nothing about misconduct, yet they removed his strongest method of changing public mood. The earlier Farms Golf Club report made Ashley Perez's later account more damaging. Golf Digest reported that a female employee accused Mickelson of non-consensual, inappropriate physical contact before a round. According to that report, she informed supervisors the club investigated and officials confronted him during play. The Farms confirmed that an unnamed member faced a staff misconduct report, an independent investigation, and decisive action. Its statement did not identify Mickelson. Separate reporting named him, while his attorney said he resigned. His representatives disputed important parts of the account and said a misunderstanding had been cleared up. Each description changes the story's meaning. Calling the exit a removal implies punishment, while resignation gives Mickelson control. The word misunderstanding challenges the allegation's interpretation. Public evidence settles no label, making language another battlefield for judgment. Scratch later reported that Mickelson was unwelcome at other private clubs. His representatives denied any expulsion or revoked membership, calling his departures voluntary. The dispute mattered because both sides were arguing over whether respected institutions had quietly rejected him. Club status became a proxy for personal credibility. The separation title presses the same nerve. A filing would suggest that the closest institution in his life had reached its limit. No verified document exists, and Amy's reported support points elsewhere. The claim still felt believable because public strain had accumulated around their marriage. Phil's history helped create that reaction. In 2023, he acknowledged that gambling addiction had kept him from being present with loved ones and caused harm. He described Amy as the partner who helped him through his worst periods. That admission is not evidence for the current allegations. It does explain Amy's place inside his redemption story. She was more than the champion's wife beside the trophies. Phil portrayed her as the person who endured damage, supported recovery, and helped him face consequences. His spokeswoman's emphasis on continuing love draws from that established role. This creates an uncomfortable limit. A spouse's loyalty may reveal commitment or private knowledge, yet it cannot decide what happened with another woman. Ashley's allegation remains unresolved by Amy's support, and nothing in that account proves a hidden wish for separation. The battle remains between a champion's defended image and a challenger's decision to speak. Phil enters with a famous resume, legal backing, and fans trained to admire impossible escapes. Ashley changed its direction by connecting her account with Pat's warning. Public reaction cannot become a legal verdict. Pat makes the conflict harder for golf fans to dismiss. As outside noise, he is a professional who described an unforgivable line years before Ashley spoke on record. His words now belong inside the story, although he has not publicly supplied independent proof for every detail reported by Scratch. Golf culture therefore faces a wider question. Private clubs, sponsor circles, player friendships, and media relationships can contain stories for years. Those networks can also spread rumor without accountability. Any responsible judgment must recognize protection for powerful people and false certainty created through repetition. Mickelson's representatives warn against false certainty, whereas Ashley's supporters see celebrity protection as the greater danger. Social media turned that disagreement into opposing teams. Users treated old clips as evidence and read fear into legal language. The marriage rumor supplied an emotional result before documents established one. Nuance disappeared once viewers chose their preferred villain. Amy's position is known only through Phil's spokeswoman. That is less satisfying than the title, but it is the cleanest available truth. The statement says she remains supportive. No confirmed separation case has surfaced, and no direct quotation says another accuser pushed her beyond endurance. The real collapse is reputational. Mickelson has reached a point where viewers could accept a separation claim before checking for a filing. That reaction reflects gambling revelations, the LIV rupture, club reporting, disputed allegations, and his admission that recovery remains unfinished. It also shows how easily suspicion becomes fact when a story feels possible. His career taught fans that risk can look like genius when the ball clears trouble. Human relationships offer no matching scoreboard. Course success cannot verify his denial or settle an allegation, while Amy's loyalty cannot deliver a verdict for everyone involved. For now, Phil remains publicly married. Amy is described as supporting him, and Ashley remains the named accuser who changed the conversation. Pat's warning gives her account context. The farm's dispute adds another unresolved layer. Mickelson's counterattack guarantees a fight. The title promises separation. The evidence reveals a marriage being used inside a public defense, while the woman within it has not spoken directly. Her silence does not prove she is leaving, and it cannot reveal what support may have cost privately. Phil's trophies define the scale of his career, but Ashley created the moment, forcing golf to examine the man behind them. Amy carries the part everyone wants to interpret, although the facts do not permit anyone to write her decision. That temptation remains this story's final trap. Subscribe for golf stories examined beyond the headline, and tell me whether Amy's reported loyalty strengthens Phil's defense or makes the unanswered questions harder to ignore. Your answer may reveal more about celebrity loyalty than any filing could.